This is Chapter 10, Exercise 10C in the Getting to Know ArcGIS for Desktop textbook, 3rd edition, and we're on page 352. And I just finished up with 10B, so this is the map that's left with 10B. It kind of looks like they're continuing with that, but we'll follow the instructions, and we will open up example 10C in the Chapter 10 file folder. So, open up 10C. And most maps have a north arrow, so you know which direction is north. It's usually straight up. And we're going to go to Insert. In the last video I said most of the stuff you want to put on a layout here is going to be on the Insert tab. And what we want is we want a north arrow, so let's click on that. And we want ESRI North 2, which is right here. They're all given names. And click on that and click on OK. And it will give us an arrow, and here it is in the middle. And what we want to do is we want to drag it to the to the lower left corner of the overview data frame. And this is our overview data frame, and so we're going to click on that. We're going to drag it and put it right in there. Okay. And double click the north arrow. And that brings up the properties of the north arrow, which is the way pretty much everything in here works. If you double click on it, you get the properties. And we want gray 40% instead of black, so I think that's about right here. Yes. And in the size box, type 40. And right now it's 61, so instead of bouncing on the down arrow 21 times, we'll just type a 40 right on top of it. And so make it about 2/3 the size it was before, and click on OK. And it says when you're finished, click an empty part of the virtual page to clear the selection. And so I'm going to click over here, and actually I'm going to move it up just a little bit. And it's not going to let me, I think, because I think I got the snap on. So let's go to let me see, I forgot where that is. So let's try right-clicking on here and go to Guides and turn Snap to Guides off. That's a property of the layout, so it makes sense that you'd right-click on here. And there we go. Now it looks quite a bit like the one in the book. And now we're on page 355, number 5. And in the layout, click the Bio Subregions data frame. So actually, this is the table of contents. In the layout, I want the Bio Subregions, and that's the regions, so this must be subregions, okay? And then on the menu bar, click Insert Scale Bar. So a scale bar is that little line that tells you how many miles an inch is, or something like that. On the scale bar selector dialog box, scroll down the list and click Scale Line 1 Metric. So I want let me see. Scale bar selector. This is scale text selector. Let's cancel that. Let's try it again. Insert scale bar. Okay, and I'm not sure why I didn't get this last time. Scroll down the list and click Scale Line 1 Metric. So Scale Line 1, and that's miles. So let's scroll a little bit here and see what we get. I'm still looking. If you look in the book, you can see what it looks like. It's just a horizontal line with some hash marks coming up. And there it is, Scale Line 1 Metric, and click on OK. And that's going to show up. And some of the stuff is a little bit hard to see when it pops up, but fortunately the handles are here. And Now we want to go to page 356. Right click the scale bar and click Properties. And these are the properties of the scale bar. And on the scale line properties, that's the name of the dialog box here. Click the Scale and Units tab. It's already selected for us. And in the middle of the dialog box, click the When Resizing arrow and click Adjust Width. So the When Resizing arrow and click Adjust Width. Okay. Now number 9, in the scale frame of the dialog box, okay, a frame is one of these, so we're looking for the scale frame right here, not a tab. And in the division value box, replace the current value with 250. Click the number of divisions and change the value to 1. Leave the number of subdivisions as 4. And in the units frame, so here's my units frame down here, and change the label kilometers to km. Okay, so we're going to shorten this up and just do km. On the dialog box, click the Numbers and Marks tab. And in the marks frame, change division height to 5 points and subdivision height. So let's find the marks frame first. So here's the marks frame, everything in this box, in this frame right here. And I want division height to be 5. And I want subdivision height to be 4. And now let's turn to page 358. Click the Format tab. And in the text frame, change the size to 9. So here's the text frame, and so it's everything down to here. We want the size to be 9. And then click OK to apply the format changes. Okay, and there it is. It's up here now. And now we're on 13. Press and drag the scale bar to the lower left corner of the BioRegions, Bio Subregions data frame. So I want to drag this over here. Let's click again just to make sure. I'm sorry, that's the regions. This one here is the subregion. So I want this in the lower. Oh boy, be careful what you select. Click and click again. Click again. Click again. Okay, and when the handles appear around it, then you can drag it. It's a little tricky when you got a bunch of things here laying stacked on top of one another. But if you click several times, if it doesn't show up the first time, keep on clicking, and eventually you'll get through to it. So I want that in the lower left corner, like on page 258 under number 13. And with the scale bar selected, okay, it's still selected. Whoops, it's not anymore. Now it is. For some reason, you don't get handles around that like you do everything else. But on the menu bar, click Edit and Copy. And we want to activate the BioRegions data frame and click Edit, Paste. So this is the BioRegions. Check over here. And I want to do Edit, Paste. I bet you Control V will work as well. I'm going to do Control V. And it showed up down here. So let's drag it up. And it looks like we're putting this in the bottom left corner again. And doesn't look quite right because the map scale is different from the Bio Subregions map scale. So double click the scale bar and get scale line properties here. You know, if it selects the wrong thing, like if it selects this instead of the line, just close it and keep trying. I'll bet that if we right click on this and choose properties, that might be an easier way to get us where we want to go. So this is the dialog box. It's on the bottom of page 359. So instead of double clicking on it, I just right clicked on it and chose properties. Now we're on number 16 on page 359 on the scale line properties. So here's the name of the dialog box. Click the Scale and Units tab. And in the scale frame, in the division value box, so scale frame is from here all the way down to here. In the division value box, I want 500 instead of 250. and change the number of divisions value to 2, and then click, I'm sorry, that should be subdivisions. So this stays as 1, this goes down to 2, and now it should match the bottom of page 359. And now let's go to page 360. Zoom to the whole page if necessary and drag the scale bar to the lower left corner of the BioRegions data frame. So click on OK here. I missed that step. And now we've got it in the lower left hand corner. And this should look, if I click, let's click over here somewhere in the background. And now it should look pretty much like what you see on the top of page 360 under number 17. Now number 18, with the BioRegions data frame active, on the menu bar click Insert Legend. So let's go to Insert, and we want a legend. And that'll open the Legend Wizard. And in the Legend Items list, click Provinces and click the left facing arrow. So I guess I don't want provinces. Wait a second. In the Legend Items list right here, okay, the left arrow. So I don't want provinces there. And remove background and ocean as well. Okay. And change the set the number of columns in your legend right down here to 2, and then click on Next. So a wizard is typically a program within a program that asks you questions about what you want to do. You answer the questions, and then it gives you the finished product. So just kind of takes you by the hand, and you answer the questions, and you get what you want. Let's go to page 361, number 21. Replace the default legend title with BioRegions. So right now it just says Legend, and we want BioRegions. And then go to the next step. Notice you could also, back up a second here, you'd also change the color and the size and the font if you wanted to. But we're not going to. Go to Next. And we're going to skip this one apparently. Click on Next. And now what I want to do is I think I missed a Next. Let's click on Next one more time, and now we're on page 362, number 24. Our dialog box for the Legend Wizard should look like the one on page 262. Change the spacing between title and legend items to 1. So spacing between is all of this stuff here, and I want title and legend items, and I want that to be 1. And notice the unit is points, which is a 72nd of an inch. And then click on Finish. So it looks like our title and our legend are going to be close together. And now we've got a legend, and we're going to double click the legend, and we'll get the legend properties. And on the General tab in the title frame, click the symbol button, and in the symbol selector change the font size to 8 points and click on OK. So you use a down arrow or just type an 8 on top of it. Then go to number 27 at the bottom of page 363, and on the Legend Properties dialog box, click the Items tab. Let me see, I need to click OK here. And now back to the Legend Properties, and click the Items tab. So it's this one. And in the lower left corner, click the Style button right here. And that will open the Legend Item Selector dialog box, Legend Item Selector dialog box. And click the Properties button. On the General tab, in the Appearance frame, so here's my Appearance frame, all this stuff up here, and clear both the Show Layer Name and Show Heading checkboxes. So Show Layer Name, turn that off. Show Heading, turn that off. And select the Override Default Patch Size checkbox. So Override Default Patch Size right here. Be careful. Patch Size checkbox, and change the width to 8. So delete the 36, 8, and change the height to 6. Delete the 24 and do a 6, and I'm going to put a space in there. And next, click the label symbol and the button right here. And in the symbol selector, change the font size to 5 points. And can we get that? Yes, we can. That's an option. And then click on OK. And click OK to close the Legend Item dialog box. So here's the Legend Item dialog box. Click on OK. And then OK again to close the Legend Item selector. So click on OK on that. And then finally click OK to close the Legend Properties dialog box. Click on OK. And drag the legend above the Bio Subregions index. So I think this is the Bio Subregions index, and this is what we've got. And we want that up here above. Now, if we look at this and compare it with the book, it looks like it's just a little bit bigger than what's in the book. And it's possible that I missed an item when we were going through all of those options before, but I'm not going to worry about it. This is pretty close. And when you finish, click an empty part of the virtual page. So there's an empty part over there to clear your selection. And I'm going to select this and just drag it down just a little bit. I've got that snap to guides turned off, so I don't have to worry about moving it off of a guide. I'll just move it straight down, and now it looks pretty good. And that's the end of 10C. So let's go ahead and save this. Go to File, do a Save As. And we want to save it out there in My Data. And we'll leave the name the same, EX10C. And that brings us to the end of 10C.